the thing I want to ask you that I think is super helpful for people who are selling on Amazon, which is like, what are the top three reasons you see people get suspended? That, the most common cases these days that you're constantly getting a flow of.
Policy violations, restricted product violations, not understanding what you can and can't put on a listing, not understanding what you can and can't put on your packaging, and having detail pages that don't accurately represent your product, that create bad buyer experiences, buyer complaints about functionality of a product, sometimes condition of a product, but those can be tricky too, because sometimes they don't really mean that it arrived broken. It just means it doesn't work the way they thought it would work. It depends on what
Okay.
it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And some of it's just behavioral. You're messing with your competitors, you got caught. You're trying to boost your positive reviews, you got caught. Some people are not up on enforcement. They just think that they can get away with something you can't get away with anymore. And a lot of people don't understand that Amazon's tolerance for that is kind of gone.
Hmm.
There were lots of people, go back, 2018, let's go back 5 years. Lots of people busted for reviews abuse got reinstated
Yeah.
within 2 appeals, 3 appeals, basically like, sorry, didn't know, didn't pay attention to it, hired the wrong company. But as long as you had the reasons and you knew what they were, and you could convince somebody that you would never do it again, and this is why you can believe me, you would
Hmm.
probably get reinstated. That's not what it is now.
So
Now
you're gone if you're caught manipulating reviews.
I mean, some people still tell me they get reinstated with the apology and we won't do it again. And here's how we're making sure our processes are better. But the days of the plan of action, I mean, you don't hear about POAs as much anymore
No.
for a reason, because they'll tell you, okay, if you can prove to us that we mistakenly suspended you and you can dispute it successfully, great. We will accept it if we agree, and we'll put you back on. If you're going to come to us and say, I know what I did was wrong, I did it anyway, I'll never do it again, we're going to say goodbye. And a lot of sellers don't understand that.
So I was having this discussion via Twitter, no, via Facebook. Some guy posted a screenshot. He's like, "These are the software and services you need to do this." And this is some random guy in Thailand that I've never met,
Mm-hmm.
who doesn't use a real profile picture, who created a launch service, like basically a review manipulation and launch service called something
Yep.
Panda Boom or something. And
I love it.
yeah, what a great name, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like, he obviously puts himself next to like Helium 10 and like Jungle Scout, like legitimate companies,
Right, of course.
because then
Yeah.
it adds some validity to him. It's like, oh, well, I have one of those. What is this one I need, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like I commented about how this is all against terms of service. Don't do this stuff. Aaron Cordova is like commented. He was a nine-figure seller. He says,
Yeah.
well, this is definitely against the rules. He deletes the comments he doesn't like that are on his own thread, right?
Yeah.
And keeps like the ones that he can try to defend up himself. I don't have as much sympathy for those guys. I try to always teach, the right way to do things with data, making the right decisions,
Of
adding
course.
value, content, right? Like how to really build a brand, think long term. But I know a lot of other people who have cheated their way to the top and sold the business for millions, if not tens of millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And, they laugh their way all the way to the bank.
To aggregators that don't exist now.
That's part of it, right? Like,
They already cashed out. You're right. I mean, how many people cashed out?
yeah.
And sometimes I think about some of the people who have contacted me. I haven't necessarily heard from some of them lately, and I wonder if they just sold the business.
Yeah.
But I remember the types of stuff I had to help them with, whether it was reviews or different types of policy violations. And the mentality back in those days was either my competitors are coming up with these little cheats, and I have to kind of cheat to keep up, or everyone's doing it. Amazon knows everyone's doing it, which means they're going to let everyone keep doing it because they can't just wipe us all out. Otherwise, they'll be cratering the sales in these categories.
Right.
And that was partially true at the time. It's just not today's marketplace.
Hmm.
Today's marketplace is, we don't know if we really need you around. Sure, you do 30 million a year, but can you be replaced?
Yeah.
Well, we think your sales can be replaced by some of your competitors. So we're not that worried about whether or not you're banned and don't come back with an appeal.
Yeah, and Amazon will not even know the difference if you're gone because again, that demand vacuum is quickly filled by 10 other sellers who are willing to
Right.
sell the same thing without cheating, right?
At
Now,
a price that buyers will accept. I mean, they don't necessarily think, well, we shouldn't have kicked off those guys because now the prices have all gone up and no one wants to pay it. I mean, do you really hear that much?
not really. What's more likely to lead to price inflation are the fees that they're imposing on
Yeah,
us.
good point. Good
Yeah,
point.
I
It
think that
makes you
what
wonder, like, do they not employ economists? I always heard that they do have at least some economists, but you need an economist to explain, what's going to happen when you play with these fees. It makes you wonder, are they just like so used to raising fees for whatever reason that they don't call the economist and say, by the way, is this a good idea?
well, it's the aggregate of these 8 different divisions that are raising fees just a
Yeah.
little bit, right? And then that a little bit ends up a lot. And so then we raise our prices, and when we can't compete with our products, we've got to stop selling it. And the only thing
Yep.
left is the cheap shit, and you end up Wish. Amazon just
Yeah.
ends up Wish, right?
Uh, perish the thought. Yeah.
Chris, I appreciate it, man. I think it's really important for people to see what is happening. Why are people getting suspended? Don't cheat. Don't do review manipulation. If you accidentally write the wrong thing on your listing, a lot of times you can write an appeal for that and fix your listing and then say, look, I fixed it. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Trademark violations. I've been through those. I can fix that. Uh, Another one that I've gotten several times, and again recently, was in the listing. I'm trying to hit a keyword for a toy, and the toy is like this toy ages 1 to 3, but
Yeah.
the age range on the toy is 3 and up.
Hmm.
And so Amazon will actually scrape it and see that we're advertising on the detail page that it's for kids 1 to 3, just because my team wanted to stuff a keyword in there.
Yeah.
And and then Amazon catches it and is like, no, 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 you're falsely advertising this product now. And that's a really when depending on how you put that, I
Yep.
put it as, oh, I marketed it wrong because I was trying to grow my business, and they're like, no, that's false advertising. That's actually a
Right.
crime, right?
Right.
So one's more serious than the other from depending on the perspective. But if you fix it, and a lot of times you can get it back right away, and that's not as big of a deal. But if you do something and you don't know how to get it fixed, and Chris is going to be able to tell you with his team and all of the decade of experience and even more combined with him and his employees and his team
Right.
members that have worked at Amazon, they're going to be able to tell you really quickly how to get it back. So if you have any problems with your account, with your listings, reach out to Chris. He's happy to tell you the reality of the situation. He'll boil it down for you. And don't go bargain shopping for the cheapest solution out there to get your account back.
Those are just templates, honestly. Most of them are templates.
But not
Yeah.
not only that, they just don't work and your account ends up down for weeks instead of days, right? Like think about how much money you're losing every single day you're down. You want to go with someone that can write you a customized real appeal based on the real data and information as quickly as possible, because that's what's going to be respected and actually have show the most results the
Yeah.
fastest, right? That's what
Right.
matters.
And,
So
and
there's
have a
times
have a
time is money.
strategy.
Yeah,
Have a strategy. Don't focus so much on an email copy or a written document. That's part of it, but have a strategy that goes along with that document. That's what a lot of
absolutely.
people are kind of missing.
Yeah, and the other thing that I've had, you mentioned it, it's like selling things you shouldn't know how to sell, packaging violations.
Yep.
When I first started on Amazon, I had an entire shipment of waterproof wireless Bluetooth speakers seized at the port because I used Bluetooth without permission.
Okay.
That's not an Amazon thing as so much as it is like my own fault, right? But
Right.
I've also had containers held because I had a toy where I did not properly mark, it wasn't country of origin. This was last year. This was in not manufacturer. Oh, it was the batch number.
Customs or yeah.
It was customs, right?
Hmm.
So that was a packaging violation that immediately came from customs. So I had to resolve the customs issue. I had to put a sticker, a special type of sticker on the packaging that couldn't be
Yep.
removed. So
Yep.
you have to know this stuff. Like it took me a lot of dollars and hiring experts to even know how to remedy the situation. Otherwise, I would have lost all the inventory in the containers. I would have spent all these fees from the container just sitting there at the port because they charge you
Hmm.
storage.
Right.
But, hire an expert like Chris who can tell you this is what you need to do in this order. Start working on it immediately. And it's going to allow you to get that stuff cleared up as quickly as possible. And that time is money, so much money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So,
stakes are high. You
yeah,
can't
this
make that many mistakes and keep up with your competition, and you lose sales rank too. It's not just losing sales, you lose sales rank.
Yeah, you lose the keyword ranks. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
my division. Like I
I
can talk
know.
about keyword ranks. So, Chris, great to see you, man. Have a great evening. I know it's getting late. And I'll see you maybe in Miami on the 13th. You're speaking down here with Carlos, and then on May 1st and 2nd, Seller Velocity in New York. If you
Yes.
guys want to go to a high-level conference, New York Seller Velocity, look it up. There's a code I'll put in the video below, in the description below. It's super limited to it always sells out and it's always high level sellers. So how many there's not a lot of tickets
100,
left.
100 for the conference day. Okay, so I probably didn't say
Total
that.
total tickets 100 max.
100 for the conference day. The VIP day, which is day 2, May 2nd, is limited to 50.
Okay.
Yes.
So if there's even any tickets by the time you watch this, if there's even any tickets left, there might not be. Go get your ticket right now. Don't hesitate. Use the code I put there for a discount. You'll get to meet Chris, his team, and a lot of other very large sellers. It's definitely worth it, especially if you're in the Northeast and it's easy to get to New York for you. Fly to it, get to it, take a train, whatever it takes. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thanks,
I'll talk to you
Brandon.
soon.